Welcome, all the insiders, to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out Live. This is our Mid-South Wrestling television review, and I am Brett West, and along with Jack Lord and Rodney West, we will be calling we won't be calling the action, but we'll be calling the review.
We'll be talking about the action.
No actual wrestling matches tonight, but it could be a fight between the three of us. You never know. When you're reviewing something, you never know when somebody is not going to agree with the other person, and
I'm poking you.
And a knockdown, drag-out fight can occur. Not actually, since we're miles apart from each other. I don't think it's going to happen too bad, but you never know. Verbal stuff could go on. Jack, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Rodney, how's things going?
Doing good tonight.
All right. I say there's no time than the present. Let's start Mid-South Wrestling Television Review, episode 264.
Yeah, this was about. We got everything back on the track now. It went off the rails, I think, but now we're back on the rails, and it started off great. Bill Watts, Boyd Pierce opening, talking about the incident with Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express a couple of weeks ago with the chairs, and now Mid-South has moved ahead and issued the largest fine ever, $30,000 fine to the Midnight Express. Now, Jim Cornette has his response to that. He said the money didn't matter. Of course, he called his mother and asked for $30,000, and even she said, "Why would you want to get $30,000?" She said, and then after he explained that was that old broken down cowboy Bill Watts, she sent the money on down. But he issues an ultimatum, and the ultimatum is very odd to me. But we'll talk about that. The ultimatum was that in 2 weeks that Bill Watts will come out and apologize to him and personally hand his check back to him, or the Midnight Express and Cornette were going to take the Mid-South Tag Team Championship and leave. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if you go back to the original rules, if Cornette uses any of these objects, he was supposed to be suspended. Am I right? Did I miss that?
No, that was it.
Yeah. So I mean, but now he's laid out the ultimatum, and in 2 weeks, and I'm going to tell you right now, this goes nowhere. All of this big buildup goes nowhere. I don't know why they did do all the buildup.
Let me ask you this question. I thought they was making a big deal out of it. Did they get away from that Mid-South Wrestling is the one that brought the chairs inside the ring? That they didn't bring the chairs inside the ring.
That was how they got out of it, because that was the reason they were doing the meeting. Having the meeting there to examine what happened there, and then Cornette's lawyers are one that says, well, they brought the chairs in. But Mid-South is not going to put up with the legalese and with the lawyers, is what Bill Watts says. We are not going to be threatened. We're not going to worry about not putting the right dots in the commas and whatever. And he says, we're issuing the $30,000 fine. Now, they supposedly wanted to, they went ahead and paid the fine. But yeah.
Well, now Jack's got that $30,000. He could have paid it for him.
Yeah. And I always wondered where all this fine money went. I don't know.
That was to pay for Bill Watts' new house and cars and stuff. That was where that
buying new belts.
He probably fined enough guys over the course of a year to do that. So.
That's right. Absolutely. We go. So let's see. Michael Barr was asking, were there any original rules? I'm not sure what he means, but yeah, the original rule as far as this concerned was anybody in Mid-South using a tennis racket, chair, chain, 2x4 was going to be fined in a match, was going to be fined $10,000. Now, we saw that a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago with the PYT. They fell victim to it, and then they said, well, that was the Midnight Express run them out. Well, the Midnight Express didn't run them out. Mid-South ran them out because Coco Ware used the chair on Hercules Hernandez, and he got fined $10,000. So, and they couldn't pay it, so they got suspended, and that was the deal there. Anyway, we go to match number one. It's Steve Brinson. Steve's a big guy. I'm just going to tell you, he is a very impressive and I think a lot of potential with a little work. I think would have been great. He goes against Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and again, the crowd's in a different frame of mind tonight. They were on fire. I don't know what was going on, but they were on fire that night. Steve Brinson makes a terrible mistake by slapping Jim Duggan, and then Duggan proceeds to wipe the mat of him. Tremendous in the end, catches him with the spear. 1, 2, 3. It's Jim Duggan over Steve Brinson. Brent, what do you think about that one?
No, I thought Jim Duggan was good in this when he was giving those them little what you call is that a bolo chop? Is that what the bolo
arms across the back?
I thought that's some good stuff right there.
Yes.
I thought it was good. What about you, Jack?
If he had ever learned how to work a rear chin lock, it would have been perfect.
Yes, I noticed.
Honestly, that's the only thing I got out of that match on a negative. I thought that was pretty awful. But everything else was good. Yeah, well, Jim wasn't putting a lot of effort into it. So, but it was a good match. It was a good match.
Absolutely, and I really think with a little work, I believe that Brinson would have been. I believe he would have been great. I really do. So we come up with Bill. We come back. Boyd Pierce and Bill Watson. They're going in back over the incident that happened last week on the program between Master G and Buddy Landell and Butch Reed, where Buddy Landell got tarred and feathered. I like them moving this to a different part of the show. Yeah, that's right. He was. Jim Duggan was wearing the Whipbuster T-shirt. Actually, I have one of those here somewhere.
And we sold a lot of those, helped sell a lot of those while we were in Mid-South Wrestling.
And there was one on the front row at ringside there, too.
Gimmicks.
That's right. Still them gimmicks. Anyway, it was the tar and feathery play of Buddy Landell. Crowd went nuts in that one. I mean, it really – and that whole thing, building the whole show, paid off in the end with Master G, I have to admit. Now, we head to the next match. It's going to be Buddy Landell against Rocky Smith, and I love this match. Jack, what do you think?
Buddy was awesome. He was so aggressive in this match. I felt sorry for the guy on that elbow because he hit his whole back, just went into the kid's face on the finish of the match. But Buddy was great. Buddy had been tarred and feathered. He should have been mad at the world, and he was, and that's why I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, well, Buddy can be rough on somebody. Buddy could actually wrestle, though. There ain't many people that realize that about Buddy Landell, but there ain't too many people who beat Buddy Landell. He was an accomplished amateur wrestler, so he did that in school. So,
yeah, he taught me how to do the corkscrew elbow, and then told me not to ever do it when he was on the card.
I love the match. I thought Rocky Smith, Rocky King, the right amount of resistance through the match. It wasn't. Yep. Let's not eat. And I hate that thing where they eat the lunch. It doesn't get anybody over. It doesn't. But this was just perfect, and it was solid. It was absolutely solid. And even with what you would perceive of today being miscues, weren't. They weren't. They were just, like I said, it looked fantastic. Buddy Landell with the spinning elbow over Rocky Smith in that one. Then,
by the way, Rocky Smith was in shape.
He was.
Woo! I'm gonna tell you, that boy was in shape. They should have really tried to push him there.
Yeah, it looked awesome. He did. He looked awesome, and like I said, he fit that for that match. He was perfect, absolutely perfect. Then next comes up. It's the Midnight Express. Hercules Hernandez in the corner with Jim Cornette against Brickhouse Brown and Master G. I'm not sure if anybody noticed this, but Master G gets booed in this one, and that's one of the few ones that. Did you notice that, Jack?
I didn't. Well, you pointed it out when we were talking the other day, so I did make sure I listened for that. And yep, he sure did.
And even when he was in there, he was getting booed. Not just the introductions. When he was in there, he was getting booed. But there, now I have to say, there was a group of wrestling fans at Mid-South Wrestling that always liked the bad guys. Remember they wore Super Destroyer mask for a long period of time. And,
they wear the Dr. X. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, this kind of sounded like half the crowd.
Yeah, this was. It was odd. This match was awesome. I loved it. Bobby Eaton and Dennis, top of their game as always. Like I said, once Master G gets tagged in, the people are booing. I mean, and they wasn't doing it to Brickhouse Brown, so it was for him. Like I said, Bobby and Dennis working great. Now we have the new handheld camera. The handheld really did add, but it got in the way sometimes. They needed to get to the corner and stay there, I think, because they were trying to move. And, of course, things, as you bring things in, it has to be perfected. And, of course, the first time in. But it did add quite a lot, Brent.
Well, I think this is what I thought about that. You know, and later on, they moved to the other side of the ring. Because he was actually shooting the camera every time, and that big, the hard camera, it was shooting that guy just standing there in his shorts, you know. So I just saw that as something, you know, something I noticed, and I don't understand this, and maybe somebody can explain this. They do the big angle with the Fantastics and the Midnight Express on television, but never once followed up on it.
That is the $1 million question here. As far as I'm concerned, one of the biggest events that happened on Mid-South Wrestling, and then they wanted to forget about it. Other than the fine, they wanted to forget about it, and then in the end, all of the fine and everything goes nowhere. I mean, goes absolutely nowhere, and we'll see that on our in 2 weeks on episode 266. We'll see exactly what happened on that, but. Like I said, it goes nowhere. It goes nowhere, and all the big buildup just falls flat.
I think Vince McMahon must have been booking that one.
It could have been. It's probably SmackDown. Oh, who knows? Anyway, so we go to the end. It's Master G, and then here comes Butch Reed, Ernie Ladd, Buddy Landell, and everybody else hits the ring at the end. And then it's Reed, and they're gonna put the belt to Master G, and Master G, as the Midnight Express was holding him, he was laying that belt in, and then Master G puts the Midnight Express together, and he's battling all five. Finally, Ernie Ladd grabs him by the legs, holds him down, and then Buddy Landell gets his revenge for the tar and feathering from last week, and I mean he laid them in there. I don't know.
Oh, it was good. It was good. She was putting that arm up, trying to block it.
Yeah, he was trying to get away bad.
I think Buddy was having some fun over there. Buddy loved to do that, hit people with chairs. It didn't matter. He loved to do that. So.
Yeah,
but you know something? I have to say this about Mid-South Wrestling. They used that belt way too many times in 1984. They used it on Wrestling 2, then they turned around and used it with somebody else, the PYT, and then turned it right back around and used it with them. They've used that thing 3 times and within a 7 or 8 month period. So,
well, all of this, if you notice, Reed was in street clothes when he came up, and this is leading up to a ghetto street fight between Reed and Master G at coming up in a couple of weeks in New Orleans. And I've seen that footage, and when they turned the lights on, the place was packed. I mean, it was packed. Of course, that was also the first night for the Rock and Roll Express. Also is back on the card on that particular evening. All right, so the next match, of course, Watts is gone from the set. He's going to go check on Master G, and in his place is Adrian Street, and he's going to be commentating over the next match, which was with Terry Taylor and Jason Walker. Now, next week on the next program, it was going to be Adrian Street for the Mid-South Television Championship against Terry Taylor, and we will talk about that. And that's an interesting right there. I don't think I've ever seen that done before, and I don't think it's ever been done since. I may be wrong about that, but I don't think it's ever been done since.
It might have been done with Goldust.
Oh, was it? Okay, well. Anyway, Derek Taylor, like I said, Walker gets Taylor back in the corner. Of course, Taylor comes out with the big flying forearm smash, and it's all over. It was Terry Taylor over Jason Walker. What do you think about that match, Jack?
I thought it was good. I know Jason pretty well, and I thought Jason put in a good effort in there. I love the way he connected with that flying forearm for the finish too. I mean, I popped on it. So if I pop, it's good.
I noticed though. I noticed at the end there, Jason's trying to kick out. Really, at the end of that,
Right at the last moment, kick out. Yeah, he did the mask coming. Now,
he did sell it afterwards, though. You know, I mean, I have to give him. But when he did that one kick out, he went all the way past that second rope when he did the kick out, and he came back down, and then he started selling again. But he had enough presence of mind. He heard that 1, 2, and really, it's very smart, really, because he was trying to kick out of it, and it was too late. I thought it was a good. I make fun of old Jason, but I thought that was a good little thing that he put in it.
Final touch to it, right.
I thought it added to it. To it.
As you know, I hate to be negative. As you know,
I don't mind.
Me. But
since when?
I caught Terry Taylor slapping his legs in the match.
So he's the one that caught Randy Orton that.
It's possible. Yeah, I caught him slapping his legs while he was taking punches in the corner. And it's like, people don't see that. If I caught it and I'm only 14, 15, 16, everybody else caught it too, Terry. You're not fooling anybody. And that's, ends up putting Mr. Taylor on one of those lists.
I can tell you how you don't get caught. You ready?
Okay, go ahead.
Don't do it.
The secrets of the universe right there. Just promoted. Next matchup, we got Steve Dr. Death Williams and Hercules Hernandez against Magnum TA and Sonny King. I'm loving this. I'm loving it. Sonny made me cringe on occasion, but all in all, I think a pretty decent match. Brent, what do you think about this one here?
I liked it all but Sonny. Sonny in this match for some reason just had me going, ugh. I was just the whole time I was thinking portals. What about you, Jack? I mean, he was just something about him.
I agree. It's like his whole entire pacing was just completely off.
I don't even want to think about it. I'll try to put that out of my mind. See, now you remind me of it.
Now, during this match, Watts took the opportunity to talk about other organizations, which, I find to be, don't waste your time talking about other things. Talk about your show. Don't waste your time talking about others, because then other people say, well, let's tune into that other matches and let's see what they're doing over there.
Who was he talking about? He
was talking about he's still bitter about the Junkyard Dog going somewhere else, and he said, there's bigger places and in the big arenas, and they're having these big matches, and they sit and they lay in a hole for 15 minutes, and they don't really do much. They're not as aggressive as we are here at Mid-South. And he talked about the underground tape exchanges and stuff like that for Mid-South Wrestling, which is, I'm sure, I'm true that they were exchanging tapes back then. But then taking time to talk about that when you should really be talking about what's going on in your ring, especially with the North American champion right in the part of that match. Anyway, it ends up Magnum TA makes a tag to Sonny King. Sonny King, the referee doesn't see it. Referee's pushing Sonny King out. It is a roll-up on Hercules Hernandez, and Steve Dr. Death Williams presents the Dr. Death Award upside the head. He has to do it twice, but I love that touch. He missed for the first one. He hits him with the second one, and then it's Hercules Hernandez getting the win over Magnum TA, and I thought it was great. I really do.
And the referee in that match, Ron West.
Yes.
Ron West, the referee in that match.
I want to point out, didn't Ronnie, wasn't he the referee for the Landale match too?
Yes.
Okay. That was the match where Watts did the one thing that I loved when he was putting Ron over as being one of the best referees in the business. But what he was saying was about how good he was. And then, there was that trend for so many years of, commentators putting the referees down. And I thought Watts was perfect on there. He put him over, made him look good so that when he did miss something, or any referee missed something, you didn't get so mad at him.
Right.
He was just doing his job.
And in this match, they put the heat all on Hercules Hernandez and Steve Williams.
Perfect.
And they did what Dad always says. When you steal something, you get up and you get out. You don't hang around. And I thought that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is, to me, a very solid show so far. And then we come up, I think one of the best matches on the whole thing. And it's nothing there. It's just a match. Rick McCord against Bill Dundee. Just beautiful. Just beautiful.
This chain wrestling, just a good chain wrestling match, and it was just. And Rick McCord was spectacular. Didn't work as a heel there at all, but man, he was doing a good job being in that part.
I thought it was. Bill was doing his of complimenting him. Again, you go in and eat somebody's lunch. If you've beat the dummy, the crash dummy, you've not accomplished anything. But Bill accomplished something and hits him with the beautiful. I mean, when he grabs him in the sleeper hold, his feet go right up out from under him, and he's down, and it's over. It's just a beautiful match, and we have a match very similar to this one on this channel that we had in Chattanooga at the United Wrestling Show. With Bill Dundee and what was his name? I forgot his name now. Lee Thomas, right? And it's just beautiful. It's this similar type thing of people complimenting each other, and Bill Dundee coming out looking like a star. And Rick McCord's not hurt. We're ready for the next match with him. Absolutely beautiful.
And that's getting Bill Dundee ready to have a feud with the exotic Adrian Street. And boy, they had some matches, some great matches.
Come to the close of the show. It's going to be next week, Mid-South TV Championship on the line. Terry Taylor against Adrian Street. We're also going to have Steve Williams and Hercules Hernandez against, here they come back, the Fantastics are back on the program. And then we end the program with the Rock and Roll Express with ELO's Rock and Roll is King. And I love the credits flying out. Did you watch the credits coming out at the end of that? I love that, how they were flying on that. Just beautiful.
I give that show a 10. I give that show a 10.
Beautiful, beautiful show.
I agree.
Are we ready to hear from the insiders?
I can't wait.
Load them up.
There is one that says "make me believe," and I won't use just a little bit of profanity. It's not a bad word, but I'll just say that belt was only worn by Ernie Ladd. No one else could put it on because it was too big.
It was, and we said that too. They needed to come and cut it down just a bit because it was too big. I agree with it. It was beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous belt, one of the best looking belts out there. But it was just too big to wear. Nobody could wear it except for Ernie Ladd.
Well, let's say hello to Retro Rob in New York, James William Lawrence, then Dr. Philbo Grice. We're giving him Wrestlingology 101 with a professional wrestling. Jack Lord, Rodney Westbrook was with you. Where the professors give you Wrestlingology 101. We do, we actually need to produce a class and call it that. Maybe something we need to do.
When somebody ends up copywriting Pro Wrestling Inside Out, maybe we'll change it to that. Just offer this too. Why
not? James Casey is with us. Michael Barr. Retro Rob did have to say, he said, glad we're back from last night's Land of Make Believe.
Yeah, that was difficult for me as well.
James,
I want to tell you, after that show last night, I was up to 1 a.m. I don't know what it was, but it just bothered me. That whole thing just bothered me.
I was too. I had to go to the restroom several times.
Well, maybe that's a good reason for you to watch it.
That might be right. James Brown is on with us. I think we know who James Brown is. I do not agree, and the podcast has not even started. I don't know whatever Michael Barr was talking about.
Who knows?
Michael Barr says $30,000. Just imagine.
Yeah.
I've been divorced twice. I can imagine it.
This was a great build-up, and they should have had, or to me, even if, we'll talk about what happened. Even if they didn't, they should have had the 2-week confrontation and had Cornette either out where Watts was at or in the ring screaming, I want my money now.
Yeah.
I want my money now. And they never went, like I said, never went anywhere with it.
Dr. Philbo Grice says, Jack enjoyed the match posted the other day between you and Terry Gordy. I'm learning about your career through the program. Did you spend most of your career as a heel or babyface?
Yes.
A little bit of everything.
I was a heel who sometimes worked babyface, but I always kept the same style. I never did change the way I did things, just who I wrestled against.
So you didn't do the Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer when they turned them babyface. You just became a nice guy.
whatever it took to sell a T-shirt.
James Brown said, "Was Buddy Cole a North American champion?" Yes, I do believe he was a North American champion, but not Bill Watts' North American champion as far as Mid-South Wrestling. He was the North American champion in Florida, the Florida version of that. Bill Watts was booking, and he loved that North American champion. Also, Bullet Bob Armstrong that passed away last night, and we want to say hello to his family, and we are very sorry, and our prayers go out to all the family members. But he was a North American heavyweight champion during that time while Bill Watts was booking. All right, let's see. I don't know what he's talking about. We were talking to Stuart Kemp. He said, "Got to love the 5K Battle Royale with 200 attendants." Who was that? What was that?
Oh, well, I think he's just referencing that $30,000 fine in general. That we'd have those battle royals with a 5K winner, a 10K winner, and be nobody in the audience hardly.
I was thinking, yeah.
Well, the secret is, the secret is the promoters were saving up for those battle royals.
Right. That was the or if Austin Idol was in the match, he just took the battle royal check with him. Mike Schaefer listening in Dothan, Alabama.
I love the $50,000 two-ring triple chance battle royal in Columbus, Mississippi. That gate wasn't never going to be anywhere close to $50,000.
Michael Barr asked, "Do any of you think that Hacksaw Jim Duggan or Hacksaw Butch Reed did not get the rating he deserved?" We'll talk about both. How about you, Jack? Both of them, just in case he's talking about.
Hacksaw, of course, he had some great success. I think he got everything he deserved out of his career. I really do. Butch Reed, on the other hand, I think was underused. Just about everywhere he went. He could have been that WCW's first Black World's champion. He could have been a world's champion anywhere he went. He was so good. I loved watching him wrestle. And he could talk, he could do it, and he looked fantastic.
Yeah. What about you, Rodney?
Yeah, Reed is awesome and should have been pushed anywhere. We saw what he could do in Mid-South. And he could have done the exact same thing, like you said. And he can also do the interview. He was awesome. He was awesome.
Jack's over there's turned upside down.
Yeah, and I'm hearing what he's saying.
He's turned himself. He's turned himself
upside down. But and Duggan, I agree with Jack on him too. I think he made it. Actually, probably before more than what his talent is, but yeah,
he's back.
Sorry, if my phone rings while I'm on here, I go crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that was Hacksaw Butch Reed giving the call, and he was going to send you the check you deserve. There's the other Rodney West on with us. Charles Alford asked a good question. Who is the oldest talent you guys ever knew that made it in the business?
DDP.
Yeah, I think Diamond Dallas Page. He was. I'll never forget. We were in. What's the town that Michael St. John is from?
Arab,
Alabama. And he was Diamond Dallas Page was just getting his start in World Championship Wrestling. Me and Tony Atlas was in the dressing room talking, and Bobby Eaton, and he came up after his match and said, "Hey, how did my match go?" I said, "Oh, you wrestled? You wrestled out there?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I didn't notice no wrestling. I just noticed you out there. I didn't know you was wrestling out there." And then Tony Atlas helped me with it. Bobby Eaton kind of helped me with it, and it really hurt his feelings. And after knowing it hurt his feelings, I went up to him. I said, "Hey, man, I was just joking with you." I said, "You work very hard. You really try," and he really did. He worked hard and he cared about what he was doing. So, but I felt bad after I did it. I just thought, man, I just went too far with this guy.
He was actually one of your opinion.
And I was mean to him. Bishop Michael Nesby said, Buddy never got the push he needed. He was a great talent with good chops as a talker. Yes.
Absolutely.
Buddy could do it all. Buddy had if he was a babyface, and he was while he was in Knoxville for the K-Town SmackDown, and he was very good there. As he did announcing first. He wasn't that very good at that, but he was the host of the show, and he didn't want to do it. You could tell he didn't want to do it. So, but when he got in the ring, when he finally got back in the ring, he was great. Michael Barr said Buddy Landel was great back in his time. Jeffrey said, good evening, wrestling professors with Mid-South degrees. Thank you so much.
Well,
Michael
we're
Barr
going to have so much stuff to put on those T-shirts.
I know. I'm writing all this stuff down. Michael Barr said, Brett and Rodney, when you two growing up in old school wrestling, did you get excited during the matches? Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And we would go Thursday nights to Rome, go to school the next day. We'd have laryngitis. Well, we had screamed the whole time. It was, we were into it big time.
You got to think we were never smartened up by anyone. No one came to us and said, "Hey, wrestling's this or wrestling's that." We was never smartened up by anybody. But I'll tell you, the night that Ric Flair and Bob Backlund wrestled each other in the Omni, I mean, we were totally for Ric Flair to beat Bob Backlund. But we knew that we knew it wasn't going to happen. It was going to be a disqualification count out or something. We knew that, but we figured it out ourselves about whether or not I think we thought, if we didn't tell a wrestler to do that, I think we'd fire him. It wouldn't matter. He would be
right. Well, we knew Dad was assistant booker, and Dad went out and bought, because we liked to copy whatever he was doing. So he had his book of matches. He went out and bought us books. And we would make our own matches, and then it came to us. If he didn't do what I told him to, he'd be out the door. So it just came to us. Yeah,
it came to us overnight while we were playing bookers. I've still got those books somewhere. I'll share.
We got them. We used to do a lot of return matches, and Dad says, "You want to do a return match every week?" And he would critique it. He said, "What are you doing here? Well, how many run-ins do you do?" And I said, "Well, I apparently was getting ready to work for WWE and Raw. Do this run-in after run-in." So, he said, nobody wants to see that. And he said, "I'm going to tell you right now, you do the same thing over and over again and kill your territory."
We would write down names sometimes, too, and the guys wouldn't even be in the territory. He said, "Well, let me ask you a question. That guy working in the territory, is he working in the wrestling? Is he wrestling for Georgia Championship Wrestling?" "Well, no, but he could." He said, "Well, he's not right now, so you need to raise him and put
somebody else in there." That's right.
It was, but then we do have those someplace.
We've got those books somewhere.
Bobby Eaton was an amazing worker in the ring.
He was beyond amazing. He was just the best. He really was just the best.
Jeffrey Archer said, "I saw the tag match and noticed G did not go over. Could it be Watts was pushing G to be the new JYD and it just didn't go over?" Yeah, I believe. Yeah, he was. But at the same time, there were some problems with George Wells, and I don't remember what it was. I do remember he said these words to Bill Watts. He got on to Master G about something. He got on George Wells about something, and he said, "I was looking for a job when I came here. I'll be looking for one when I leave." And that's the exact words he said to him. So he ended up being fired, I believe. I don't think he worked a notice out. I think he was just gone. One day he was there, the next day he was gone. So I don't know what happened. I think he went from there. He went to World Class Championship Wrestling and got blonde hair. If I remember, am I right about that?
Yeah. I watched the match the other day.
But he wasn't nowhere near as good as he was in Mid-South for some reason. Like his whole abilities went down.
Well, he seemed to be a better worker per se as a babyface than he was as a heel.
Because he was a heel in World Class.
In World Class, yeah.
I love that head scissors, the flying head scissor he did. I love that.
James Brown said, "I think the Midnight and Fantastics was short-lived in World Class too."
Well, the Midnight was short-lived there anyway. They left and went to work for Crockett.
Michael Barr says, "How long does a good angle usually carry on in wrestling?" Well, back in the territory days, they did it 3 months in the smaller territories, 6 months in the bigger territories. If you was in WWE or maybe you were working for Vern Gagne, they did 6 months. In the little territories, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, 3-month program would be about what now? If it's if it continued drawing, they may drop it for a month or two and bring it back. So that happened. Wrestling 2 Superstar went on 3 times, so it drew so much, and it drew every time. So Daniel said, Street Sand, he couldn't wait to get his hands on that.
His hands. I cannot wait to get my hands on Taylor.
We said this back in the Mid-South Wrestling days that they didn't push Adrian Street the way he should have. He did that one little deal with him. Then he went against Bill Dundee and he was gone. There was so much more.
Did you notice in the interview he says that the people, this promotion is not taking me seriously? He says that in that interview right before they go to the ring.
Well, you remember Ron West, our father, he was in the booking committee at the time because they were going to a booking committee by the end of this year in 1985. There'll be a booking committee that Dutch Mantell is in it, Grizzly Smith, Bill Dundee, Dad, and Bill Watts. I believe those are the people that's in the booking committee. And Dad told him, so you need to push Adrian Street. And these are the words Bill Watts said. Well, you know what? If you've seen him once, you've seen him. So we need to get rid of him. It had nothing to do with that. He was a smaller wrestler. And that's the reason he wanted him gone. But he could have drew a lot of money with him. He leaves there, I believe, and goes to the Carolinas, where they draw a ton of money with him and Jimmy Valiant and Dusty Rhodes in Florida. So, missed opportunities everywhere. Richard Hood is with us. Good evening.
Hey, Richard.
Thank you so much. Jeffrey said, don't do it. Wisdom of Mr. Lord.
That is correct.
For those of you who come in late, it's about doing the leg slaps and the stuff.
Yeah, he was caught just playing his day and he actually was caught 2 weeks ago, and I ignored it. 3 weeks ago, and I ignored it. But I remember back then, and we get in the car and we tell Dad, "Why in the world is he doing that?" Well, Terry. No, we don't know Terry.
We do know that Terry complained a lot.
He did complain. No, you're right.
Love you, Terry, but man, you complained. All right. Michael Barr, where did Terry Taylor get the gimmick for being the Red Rooster? We'll let Jack handle this one.
Vince, because he heard about the leg slaps.
He said, it's going to catch on, and we're going to do it in our matches all the time up here.
Oh,
no,
man.
I love that whole thing, and because Terry Taylor's on the same list with Mr. Sullivan. I love the whole thing, especially when Bobby Heenan called him a limited person. I took this limited talent, and I've trained him and molded him, and I've made him into the Red Rooster, which is I think it's a metaphor for something else.
I have heard people say that they should, they gave him a goofy gimmick. Well, they did. I mean, let's be honest. It was goofy. But you know what? He should have done the best he could with it, because that's what the gimmick they gave him. They gave Dusty Rhodes polka dots, and he made it work. So is it a problem with the gimmick, or was it a problem with Terry Taylor?
Well, previously he was the Mecca of manhood. If you remember. When he first came in there, he was the Mecca of manhood, Terry Taylor. That was when he was trying to be Ric Flair.
Well, Terry Taylor, I have talked to Ric Flair. I have sat with Ric Flair in a dressing room. I have been to dinner with Ric Flair. I have spoke to him for hours. And you, Terry Taylor, you are no Ric Flair.
And I can tell you right now, when he became Ric Flair, what was decent matches turned into a snooze fest.
We love you, Terry.
He's going to drop a knee on him. Terribly dropped knee on the head. He should have did it.
Retro Rob said your dad was faster around the ring than the wrestlers. He did a great job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, he enjoyed. You could tell it in these matches. He was loving every single minute of it. Absolutely loving it.
Michael Barr said, "What are the old school wrestling finishing moves not used today, Jack? Is there any that's not used today?"
Most of them are not used today.
Right.
That's because they don't know what they are.
Hey, they didn't even know what a lumberjack match. They didn't even know how to throw the people back in the ring. They did not know what a lumberjack match is.
They might have messed their hair up if they did that. Don't you understand? We got to do a show afterwards too.
James Mason said, missed the Mid-South and UWF days. Saw a few shows at Tulsa Convention Center and Fairgrounds Pavilion. Hated the new North American Championship belt. I don't think most people did like it.
No, it was too big. It was too big. And I guarantee you, if you went to, we never got the chance to go up to Tulsa and Oklahoma City, but those matches or what we saw from there were awesome. It looked like you got a lot of wrestlers from world class as well. It seemed.
Mickey Mayfield said Dr. Death looked funny in that episode without his full beard.
Yeah, he did. I noticed that as well.
Improved immensely during this.
Oh, he was just finding himself right here. He's right at it, and he's finding himself. And like I said a couple of weeks ago, the match with him and Chris Adams was absolutely beautiful, and he's growing into his own. And you're seeing him; he's coming into his own now.
James Mason said, "You guys are a blast. We're just having fun.
That's
We're
right.
just having fun, and that's and Terry Taylor, if you're watching this or somebody tells you about it, we're just joking with you. We love you. We're just joking with you. Now, off the air, we may talk bad about you, but just joking with you." Mickey said, "Were the headsets Watts wore really hooked up to something or just on his head?" No, they were hooked up, I guess, to hear themselves and then hear the director.
Right. I believe he broke them and he had to put some duct tape on them one of the shows.
I think it's because he'd get mad and he'd take them off like this. Yeah. People, if you never got to go to a Mid-South wrestling television taping and watch Bill Watts over there in the commentary area, you're talking about somebody make a fool out of himself sometimes. He'd get mad. And I remember one time he got mad. You remember when they messed up the music? And he told them off in front of all the fans.
Yeah, he was yelling at them. And they just had like this boom box.
Scott Munns, that took care of the merchandise, was the guy running, and he asked him, "Don't you know how to even run?" Never forget that day.
And then he said, "Bill, I'm doing the best I can." We're sitting over like with the midnight and all them come out. We're sitting on the edge and we're like, "What in the world's going on?" I said, "Well, come back and put it back in post-production or something."
And it was about this time. It was about where we're at right now
it was fantastic music, wasn't it? That was the problem.
I think it was the Fantastics music. I believe it was. Make me believe. Well, we know the WWE ain't gonna do that. So, Mid-South was my home territory. Watts built JYD, and JYD built.
You're right about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. He was awesome, and I can tell you, when you have high school football teams named after you, you're doing something right. I'm telling you right now, you're doing something
right. Make me believe. He said George Wells was unimaginative in his matches. Hey, I don't know. What do you guys think? Was he unimaginative in his matches?
I don't know about unimaginative. I think at times he didn't show the right fire, but overall, I thought he was pretty good.
Now, Wrestling with Wrestling said they liked the North American Championship belt. He said they had a world title a lot like the North American Championship. So somebody liked it. They had it redone. So
was it the same size? Did you do the same size as the original one? That would be a question because it was really big. Not many people could wear it.
There's a promotion here in Alabama that has a belt that's even bigger than that.
Wow.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge.
My favorite was Tully Blanchard of Buzz Sawyer, a friend who was a jobber then. He said Buzz was scary in real life.
Yeah, he could be.
Yeah, crazy.
He could be. Hey, when you're going to take frustrations out on M&Ms, you can be scary. That was something.
Coming up soon on a Tuesday's Wrestling Talk, we've got to talk about Buzz Sawyer.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Buzz Sawyer was a very unique individual, and he was a great wrestler, very volatile in the back. tried to get them to do what you wanted them to do. We'll have to tell those stories of Chattanooga, Tennessee, the feud between Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer, how it started, and why it started, and where it went.
Yeah, the wrestling said that their belt was the same size.
Oh man,
same size as that one. It was huge. Well, heavy too, I guess.
Well, now he said a wrestling angle. They said the Sheik and Bobo went 50 years.
Yeah.
Well, off and on, they did.
Yeah.
Wrestling with Wrestling said, we'd love to feature you guys on the site. We'll get in touch with you, and we'll all be very glad to come on and have a good time. And I may even bring my little wrestling ring there.
So that we can show. It was funny when we were in Kansas City. We wanted to do that exact same thing because people were having trouble figuring out what to do.
I don't have no little wrestling guys though.
You have to get some. You got to get you some action figures.
I need some action figures.
If you go to Walmart, they always have WWE action figures in the discount pile.
The dollar bill.
Yeah,
I give me a Randy Orton doll.
Randy Orton.
Yeah,
Randy Orton Jr. His name's Randy Orton Jr.
Randy Orton Jr. I know that's what you called him last night. All right, let's get
Well, his
back
father's
to,
name's Bob Orton Jr. Wouldn't he be Randy Orton Jr.?
Rick Brooks said the first time I saw the Big Cat Ernie Lab was always back in 68 and 69 in Sheik's.
Even at this time, and I think we've told the story here about when Houston, when Ernie Ladd and his knees were just killing him, and he was having to stay and sit in the aisles to get back to the dressing room. Even then, he was impressive. His psychology, his mind, just superb.
By the way, Jack, Larry Bebop Hathcock says hello, Uncle Jack, and hope all guys as well. I think you were going to put something in his eye the other night. I'm guessing, and that did not happen.
I've not been able to track him down yet. He moves fast. He moves fast for a guy who is absolutely as wide as he is tall.
Oh, well.
Oh, Zach was. We'll talk about Buzz Sawyer. Zach, we'll get back. We'll get back with the Buzz Sawyer stories. We're gonna do one next month. Next month we'll try to do a Buzz Sawyer. We'll talk about the boots, Zach. So stay tuned. If you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you get to that. And that way, when we're doing one. Facebook is the easiest way to find out when we're having the events because we only put them in and when they're about an hour or 2 hours before YouTube.
Jeffrey says the Randy Orton doll is at regular price. It's the one that slaps his leg is 50% off.
Don't give WWE Creative an idea there.
Make believe Bill thought a lot of himself being what a legitimate wrestler was. So if you wasn't 6'3" and 300 pounds, he figured you were not going to draw.
You're right about that.
And he was producing wrestling that he wanted to see, not what the people wanted to see. Exactly what is going on today in professional wrestling. They're producing what they want to see, not what the people want to see.
That's the reason I'm going to start calling the WWE the WWE. Because it sounds more like it. The WWE, that's who it's for.
Bill Watts knew where the bread and butter was, using a mix of people, especially where population is fairly strong one way or another. Too many others just didn't get it. Well, that's true. Bill did know the area. Now, I will have to give you, he did know the area, and he was very good. Jason said, will you find somewhere if you're fast and you're late? Yeah, but are you saying you're dressed up well and you're late? Is that what you're
I think if he's dressed up, we can let him by.
All right. We'll just
$25 tonight, and not $50.
We'll just minus you. But we're writing your name down, Jason.
Write his name down, possibly a mark beside it.
Yeah. If you're late next time, actually, I'm writing on some
Kleenex. It looks
Kleenex here, so that might get just wiped right out.
I've got me a roll of toilet paper waiting to watch SmackDown tonight.
Oh, the connotations.
Got to figure out how to clean that screen up some way.
I'll be right back.
Jeffrey said that Jerry was giving the Red Rooster giving a bet. He crowed all the way to the bank.
Hey, he had an awesome jacket. Olivia Walker made that jacket.
Yeah, he did.
It was beautiful.
Charles said this show expired if you never quit or give up regardless of age. No, don't ever give up on your dream.
No.
Never give up on your dream of being a professional wrestler, no matter what age you are. I mean, there's been guys that sometimes I think Diamond Dallas Page might have been in his 40s.
He was in his 40s.
So
44, I believe.
So don't give up. Don't give up, Charles. You never know when that opportunity is going to come around.
Passion is passion, and if you're passionate about something, stick with it, because you hate to get to the end of the days and say, I wished. I'm like that now. I wished I would have done it. And don't ever wish I had done it. Do it. Just
right.
Go do it.
Go do it. You may fail. Hey, we have failed many times in our life. We promoted shows that didn't go well. Lost money on some of them shows, made money, and this said, and then the building said, "Hey, by the way, you can't come back." So it's happened as many times, but you know what? We are still. Now we took about a 14-year thing away from wrestling because we was in the circus business. We're back, and hopefully the next 20 years, if as long as we live that long, we'll be still on here talking about. Some bad wrestling that WWE is producing and the great old school wrestling that we get to watch. Tim LaFontaine. Hey there, Jack. Greetings from upstate New York.
Hey, Tim.
Hey.
Michael Barr said, Jack, that is a cool T-shirt that you're wearing. You want to tell them about that?
Southwest Wrestling Entertainment. Fury is the name of the TV show. They're on Fight TV, one of the best independent wrestling shows on the market today. They really go old school with the way they present things, the way they do things in the ring, and have some of the best talent I have ever seen. And I don't get paid for that. I even bought the T-shirt.
Retro Rob said they in WWE they don't use finishers in WWE because you have to have an actual finish to use one.
That is correct.
A lot of run-ins.
A lot of run-ins there.
That's when you don't know how to put together a finish because you don't know anything.
Well, and to me, when you start doing that, it's the beginning of the end.
People know that, if Randy Orton don't hit that move of his, or if John Cena didn't do his, or whatever, the match was not going to be over till those finish moves hit. The wrestling left a long time ago. That's where the backslide the other night had a lot of people confused when McIntyre beat Orton with a backslide because they hadn't had a wrestling move on WWE in 20 years. Fact.
I do believe once we get into those folks who've not we're doing that. I kind of confused people, so we're going to call it the Raw review from now. When I said old school, they thought we were going to do an old school wrestling. I apologize for that, but we're going to call it the Raw review on Thursday night. Eventually, we're going to go back and look at the 6 to 8 weeks and what we would have done in that 6 to 8 weeks. And I think that would be interesting to people of what we would have done to get to where they're at 6 weeks, 8 weeks from now. I think it'll be an interesting show. Sniper shot games. I miss the good old days.
Yeah,
me too.
Lynn said, "Good evening, gentlemen. Say what you want. Terry could work, and I liked him. Well, not in the WWF. Vince put him 6 feet under with that gimmick." Well, I really believe it wasn't Vince. I believe it could have been Pat Patterson that came up.
Yeah.
I think it could have been Pat. So. But he probably listened to Terry complain so much in the dressing room. He heard,
yeah, that's a possibility.
I hate to say that, Terry, but that's what you get. They said, you know what? He would be great at this personality because that's all I hear is cack. So, and Pat Patterson, they said, was the easiest guy to get along with. No one had problems with Pat Patterson.
Of course, we joke about Terry, but he's still involved with the business. Yeah. So that's hats off to him for that.
Exactly. We still love Terry. Now we still love Terry. This is just the day for you to get it. It's just your day. Tomorrow might be Jack's. You never know. We're not doing.
Believe me, if I could grow hair, I would have that rooster thing going. It don't look good on the sides, though. I'm telling you, I look like Paulie.
Oh, Matthew. All right, go ahead. Somebody read that one.
Matthew Priest missed the old matches from the Huntington, West Virginia Memorial Fieldhouse.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, go ahead.
Chance to go up there.
I'm getting choked, so go ahead.
Michael Barr, how many times did referees get hurt during matches accidentally? Did Ron West ever get hurt? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he got the – we covered it a few months ago when he got the elbow. Buddy Landell put the spinning elbow on the back of his head and broke his nose. Yeah, it was – yeah, he got hurt. He got hurt. Knees messed up. He would have to wrap them in saran wrap. And, yeah, he was –
Yeah, I have smashed into a few referees in my time that were in the wrong place. So.
Make me believe. My thought on the size of the North American title belt was that Bill wanted it to look strange on small wrestlers, like he was not a real wrestler. But the belt only fit Ernie Ladd. Nobody could wear it. I don't think anybody wore it. So, Sniper Shot Games asked the question: what do you think about wrestling today?
It's sports entertainment today for the most part. And that's how I make the difference. Wrestling, kind of ended back in the 80s. Sports entertainment's been the thing since then. Now, admittedly, I'm a fan of both. I've learned to separate them. So I don't apply the old school rules and expectations to today's product. I take today's product for what it is. I still watch stuff and still wish they would do some common sense stuff, but I'm not in charge.
I have a feeling, and I'm not, I don't know, but I'm assuming that they focus group what they do. Am I off base there? Okay. I
don't think you're off base at all with that. I believe you're right.
So
well, they target for that young demographic. They don't target for us. They don't care about people like us. They're that 18 to 34 range. And, and those are the folks that grew up on lots of excitement and action and, fireworks and all that kind of stuff. So, they need that to keep that interest in what they're watching on TV. We didn't have to have that. We didn't have to have entrance music. We just needed one light over the ring and we were happy.
Exactly. All right, we got one or two more questions, and we're running out of time. But make me believe ask about finishers. What was Harley Race's finisher? Go ahead, Rodney.
It was the standing suplex. Also, he occasionally used the headbutt off the top rope, but it was the standing suplex, Harley Race. And he would put a guy up and he would hold him, and it seemed like an eternity. And then he would drop him.
Mickey asked, he said, were any of you at the Municipal Auditorium in Atlanta the night Dusty wrestled Ernie Ladd, and Ladd ran from the dressing room and Dusty grabbed his truck? He was climbing and he mooned to Atlanta. If I was there, I don't remember it.
We missed that one, but
Atlanta City Auditorium, though, my favorite arena of all time.
Yeah, that all them little auditoriums, Shreveport, Louisiana, at that auditorium, Augusta at that Bell Auditorium, all those, and they had great buildings in Kansas City and Kansas and Missouri. That beautiful buildings there that had great atmospheres in it.
Yeah.
No people, but had some good atmosphere. That was some bad times that time. All right, guys, any closing comments about Mid-South Wrestling before we leave?
Oh, it's getting heated up. We're going to be heading to show number 265 next week. Adrian Street, going after the Mid-South TV Championship, and it's going to get better from here, I think.
I watched that episode last night, and for those wanting to follow along and watch it, I don't believe that this episode's on YouTube. It is available on the WWE Network. Just punch that in with the number, and it'll bring it right up. Great episode. Even if they do change Adrian's music on that episode, which I hated, but I don't think I guess Adrian didn't give him the rights to replay it.
Well, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, give us the big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching on Facebook and you have not subscribed on YouTube, go over there and do that, because coming in 2021, they will be exact shows that we will not be on there. They will be going directly to YouTube. So make sure you go over there and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can go if you're on. There you see Jack the Bomber Lord you see his cup. If you want to go get the cup or you want to go get a T-shirt and support the channel, go over there and support the channel with with either a T-shirt, a woman's tank top, a cell phone covers, mask, coffee cups, plus much more. Go over there and get you a shirt, and a couple of new designs are on their way. And so make sure you go over there and get you a T-shirt right now. You go to Facebook.com, Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. You hit the Shop Now button. It'll take you directly to the Teespring store.
John Walker wants you to check your messenger. Also, I want to send out our condolences to the James family. Tremendous loss, not just for you, your family, for all of us. Bob Armstrong will be greatly missed.
Yes, they will. Jack, anything before we leave?
No, just remind everybody, Monday night, we're going to be doing a special episode about Bob Armstrong. Tune in then. Tell everybody we're going to give our own personal accounts and thoughts and do a little bit of review of his career and, just try to play some honor to a man who meant the world to all of us.
Folks, we'll see you Monday night. Please tell all your friends and come back and share your thoughts and your experiences with Bullet Bob Armstrong. We certainly lost one of the greats when we lost Bullet Bob Armstrong. Guys, so long, and we'll see you Monday night right back here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out Live.